Welcome back, and I'm glad you chose to stick with us on Day's Counter Show today. And now let's move on. Let's move away from home and go to China, where thousands of Africans are said to be stranded in the quarantined Chinese city of Wuhan and its surrounding province. Family associations in Senegal, Cameroon, and Kenya have since placed requests to have their loved ones and relatives return back home. However, some of the countries claim that they do not have the proper medicine and care to those who have maybe been infected by the virus. Now, let's have a look at that story.
When Margaret Ntale Namusisi's 3 daughters called to say they had been quarantined at the university in Wuhan, China because of the coronavirus outbreak, she sent money from Uganda and told them, run very fast and do shopping.
So generally, how are you feeling? What do you do when you wake up? What do you do?
When we wake up, it depends, because sometimes you sleep the whole day. Literally, we have nothing to do. So if I wake up early in the morning, then I'll try to do some research, of course. First, I watch the news to see any updates.
Valeria, Veronica and Vivian did just that. But nearly 1 month on, with no help from their government, they remain under lockdown in a crowded apartment with orders to stay indoors with the windows closed. He recovered and left the hospital in Wuhan on February 10 and now can't leave his apartment in Wuhan.
I wake up at 3 a.m. every morning, sit in my bed and start texting them. Hello, good morning, good morning. Before they answer me, I'm worried. Are they there? It's really traumatizing. Our girls cry, our children cry every day. The prices of goods have escalated because of low supplies. And they can't, they are stranded, they are traumatized. We too are traumatized. Our plea is to the head of the state, Mr. Museveni, help us evacuate our children.
His father, Roger Michel Kemkwining, a Cameroonian national, found out his son had contracted the virus from a statement posted online by Yangtze University, where Pavel was studying. Kemkwining was alerted to it by a friend who forwarded him the statement on Facebook. The statement seen by Reuters said that the university had informed the Cameroonian embassy and the parents, but the statement was news to Kemkwining.
That was an official document from the university that talked about an African who was infected. And I immediately saw the photo. I saw his name. The spelling was not right, but it was unmistakable. It was just an S and a P that were reversed. And I don't know. I almost got vertigo. It was as if I had been struck by thunder. I believed he was made out of rock. He never had any serious problems. And if it was the first time there was such a serious problem, that is why I was worried. I don't doubt what he says. That is cured. I don't doubt it. But I don't think I'll be able to sleep as before.
He says the association wrote to the president, Paul Biya, to request the government's help in repatriating the students, but says he hasn't got any response. He said he posted the letter on his Facebook page after the embassy failed to respond to his emails. Countries across the world have flown the subjects home from China's quarantined Hubei province, the epicenter of the outbreak of the flu-like virus that since January has infected more than 74,000 people and killed over 2,000. But no sub-Saharan African country has flown their citizens home, leaving thousands of people stranded and unsure if their governments are willing or even able to help. Reuters spoke to families from Cameroon, Uganda, Senegal and Ethiopia with similar tales of frustration. Many have set up associations to pressure their governments to act through letters and petitions. Governments across Africa have said they plan to send money to students to help in daily expenses. However, many, including Senegal, Ivory Coast and Uganda, say they do not have the resources to look after the coronavirus patients at home and that their subjects will be most safe staying in China, where authorities said the number of new cases fell for a second straight day on Tuesday. Uganda's Health Minister Ruth Aceng said in a statement last week that the Foreign Affairs Ministry will send $61,000 to students stuck in Wuhan, but the Namusisi sisters have received nothing so far. Cameroonian businessman Pison Seke, based in Wuhan, sent a letter to the President Paul Biya calling for assistance. He set up a platform on WeChat for the Cameroonian community. He said many are stressed and worried.
The worst thing is right now we do not have enough information. We don't know when this will last. We don't know how long it's going to last. We don't know when it will end. We don't have all the data. We don't really know if the vaccine is going to be found, when it's going to be found. And right now we're just trying to survive. I think apart from the economic and social aspects of being confined in your room or apartment for 3 weeks, sometimes it feels like a house arrest. I think there's also the psychological aspect, because some people in my community, they feel isolated. They feel stressed up in the fact that they cannot go or see anybody.
Dagmawi Demelash Mengistu, a business student from Ethiopia, said his school has provided latex gloves and masks, but he too complains that his government has not responded to students' calls to be flown home. He too is locked inside, short of food and money, and part of a student association that has asked the embassy to fly them home.
Our parents are worried, and students here are mentally unstable. Most students here feel like they've been abandoned by a whole lot of Ethiopian government branches, because we've seen a lot of countries, and even the funniest thing is we've seen one plane come for 4 students that are in Wuhan, and just to evacuate them, just one plane. And Ethiopian Airlines haven't stopped flights from China to Addis Ababa. So I think that's like the shot to the gut when you see that they're still continuing flights but cannot take their citizens out.
A petition has been launched on change.org calling on the African Union to help repatriate African nationals from China. Several countries have already evacuated their nationals, including Sri Lanka, who repatriated 33 students after they said food and water supplies to the university had stopped after the lockdown. Authorities in Wuhan have ramped up restrictions and measures in recent weeks as China scrambles to contain the outbreak, which has killed more than 2,000 people and infected over 70,000. Hundreds of foreigners have been evacuated from Wuhan, the epicenter of the coronavirus epidemic. More than 10 million locals live there, and the city has been in virtual lockdown for nearly a month. Many African nations are understandably nervous about a little-known virus breaching their borders.
What a sad story indeed. We do hope everyone gets back to their country.